Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Blastoise in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And this is going to be the last moveset guide for the starters, so start commenting down below the Pokemon you want to see me cover next. I'm looking for a mix of like popular and interesting Pokemon, and then we can start working our way from here and see how the moveset guides progress. But the first thing, also don't forget to leave a like and share, but the first thing we need to talk about with the Blastoise is Shell Smash. And while we're talking about Shell Smash, we need to compare it to other Shell Smash Pokemon to see if this is what Blastoise wants to do. It's a bulky tank Pokemon, kinda slow, but the Shell Smash is going to make it quick and strong anyways, or do we just want to be more of a tank than a sweeper? Let's go and compare. So, moveset is going to be Surf, Ice Beam, and something. So, Water, Ice, it's pretty good, but you do find a lot of resistances with water-type Pokemon. Now, this looks like a scary big list, but remember, we're dealing with the Gen 4 decks only, so that's the cutoff over here. Let's see what we can add in. So, we got that Dark Pulse, and Poliwrath, Azumarill, Sharpedo, Crawdaunt. I'm always worried about the Crawdaunt, man. If that thing gets going, you're going to have a bad time. We also get the Aura Sphere. 612 super effective hits. I mean, it's like, what do you want? Do you want more super effective hits? Because my goodness, this finds them. But the not very effectives are still there. Starmie gets the Thunderbolt, and it's also common, so that's kind of spooky if you can't hit it even neutrally or something. No effect on the Shedinja as well. So it comes down to preference, team comp, meta. I can't give you the best move for the Pokemon because there really isn't the best moveset for most Pokemon. And as you scroll down, not really too many other crazy options. Like the Dragon Pulse is an idea, but that's kind of specific, and Dragon Pulse plus Ice Beam isn't going to be like super crazy on the coverage. I mean, it's mostly down to the Aura Sphere or the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is interesting because you have that, well, it's kind of a small chance. Like 20 is better than 10, but not as good as 30. Congratulations, that's how numbers work. But I mean, you know what I mean if you're playing Pokemon. Dark Pulse not as reliable as a Rock Slide or an Air Slash, but I mean, when you get the Dark Pulse flinch, it feels good. Also, if you're boosting your speed, it's a thing that happens. However, minimize a thing. You want to make sure that you're not missing and having weird stuff happen. So, everything has its benefits. Ideally, you like take a hit, Shell Smash, and then maybe the hit was fat enough to put you into Torrent, and now you're just super sweeping. That brings us to the item. What item does Blastoise want? Well, it's a tank Pokemon, so it's not like you want to go Focus Sash, Shell Smash like some other Shell Smashing Pokemon. White Herb also is kind of tricky because uninvested, I don't think you're a reliable 3-hit KO Pokemon, so the White Herb doesn't do anything for you by restoring your defenses. And then the other thing is like, Life Orb. I think Life Orb is actually the best. Even though you're taking a hit, you want to use your natural defenses to survive. You know, take like 60%. And then if you're just outspeeding and getting KOs, the Life Orb burn doesn't matter because you're picking up like 3 KOs before you go down, maybe even 4 or something. I'm not a big fan of like Wise Glasses and Muscle Bands, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on like the damage numbers. Like if this tips something because of weirdness, maybe, but overall I think the Life Orb is going to be the better play. Or at that point, maybe the Splash Plate. Splash Plate, kind of happy medium, good amount of damage being added in. Also, that means you can go for the Mystic Water if you're having a hard time finding the Splash Plate in the underground. But it's like, yeah, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, super effective. You're connecting those are supposed to KO anyways, so they don't need to be Life Orb boosted at the +2, which means Mystic Water, that is going to be your neutral bread and butter KOing. We're going to find the ranges there. And now we can talk about, like, Cloyster and the other benefits. So, Cloyster's actually slower. Blastoise, like, 78 speed, doesn't seem like it's going to be the best sweeper, but at +2, the numbers get interesting. And we kind of already talked about this with a few other Pokemon, like the Feraligatr. Feraligatr at +2 Dragon Dance, you just want the Adamant Nature, and then you're outspeeding everything anyways. And that's why we can also go over to the Garchomp. So, +2 on the Blastoise versus the Garchomp at level 50, you're outspeeding it. So Scarf Chomp, no problem. 105 in that +1, no problem. Now, you do lose out to the Infernape, and after the Shell Smash, that close combat, probably very threatening. So, you win some, you lose some on this, but overall, like, yeah, you're kind of beating out everything you need to, and the Modest Nature keeps you at the highest damage possible. And we can also kind of look at what I was talking about. So you eat a big hit, you tank it out, and then you've got 20-something%, which is 3 Life Orb burns. Okay, I'll take that. Looking at the damage numbers, a 108 hit points, 85 relatively uninvested Pokemon, the Surf, no Torrent active, and like also, yeah, that's kind of what you want. You want to burn yourself into that Torrent or fall into the Torrent. So something happens, you're at 30%. Oh yeah, that Surf is just KOing everything, and we don't even have a Life Orb here. Splash Plate is even more damage, and now it's like, what survives that? So you kind of want to bait into just the right hit to get what you're looking for, and even outside of it, let's pull up the Silvally, so that way we can kind of make a determination of how we want to handle the Life Orb versus Splash Plate. Boom. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything in the meta that's uninvested in this fat except for the Garchomp. You don't even have to worry about that because you're going to Ice Beam it anyways. And we can even see the Dark Pulse is doing significant damage, so like I said, you're saving this for a super effective hit, which means the super effective hit is going to be a KO, and let's just pull up like an Alakazam. It doesn't even need to get that close. So we go to level 50. Yeah. Like, we knew this was going to happen, but we're just kind of like extra confirming it's going to happen. So really, if you're not getting resisted, you're going to be doing some serious damage, and it just kind of gets better. So Splash Plate, safe option. Wise Glasses, unnecessary because of the super hits. Life Orb, put you on a timer, but it just kind of secures the extra tanky hits. Yeah, and you don't even need Life Orb for weird stuff like Skarmory, and I mean, that's where it's like, is the Wise Glasses possible, like, for maybe just really weird outliers? So we're still KOing the Skarmory, but what about our boy, Blissey? It is going to be max defense, max hit points, all of that checks out. We go down to the 50. That Surf is getting tanked pretty hard, and this is why I mean, like, Wise Glasses plus Aura Sphere? Do we get anything out of that? We do not. And if we're low, now the Surf is the better option, but that just gets softballed out. But Blissey doesn't really find too many opportunities. I'm just trying to think, like, is there something that tips for the Wise Glasses? Because if you have Life Orb into this, you're just KOing yourself. But, make up your mind as to what you want out of this. I just think that, yeah, Splash Plate, just wrecking everything neutral for as long as possible while utilizing coverage, depending on the meta. What could possibly go wrong? So yeah, compared to this Cloyster, we're faster. The damage numbers are going to be the same special attack, but Cloyster's got that physical and the skill link, and then finds the damage that way, so it can be a pretty nasty Pokemon. Also, Breaking Sashes just kind of baked in, so Cloyster's kind of crazy, but that 70 speed can be problematic. And then when we look at Omastar, it's going to be even slower, so you really need that timid nature. So I mean, like, let's look at the 252 timid versus the modest, and it's like 259 versus 329. Yeah, Omastar still has a solid over 10% damage on the Blastoise. Same idea. It wants Surf, it wants Ice Beam, it then has like an Ancient Power or something. Don't sleep on that Ancient Power against stab flying types and then finding extra stats, and it's already got +2, and then the +3 speed is when things start getting wacky. But 229 doubled, and then go to level 50, because everything's weird and everyone plays different formats, and Pokemon's just a broken community. We got 234, so that catches you on some pretty good speed tiers. Why is this an Omastar guide all of a sudden? Well, that means you are speed tying with positive 90 speed 1.5s. But we're playing Blastoise, so we don't have to worry about that. Either way, I'm just kind of like showing like less speedy sweep, but more damage, and still like some crazy stuff going on. So yeah, the case for Shell Smash Blastoise is compelling, especially in a Gen 4 reduced dex, but let's talk about Tank Blastoise. Max hit points, max defense, defensive nature. You are going to be a tanky boy, and that also leaves you to play a lot of tricks on the opponent. So Roar, it's a thing. We talk about it on anti-setup because this is the best way of just shutting down an opponent that's trying to run away with game. Rapid Spin. So injury hazards, common, kind of, depends. but having the rapid spin just to kind of preserve and not let the opponent get away with too many shenanigans, especially when just baked into a tank Pokemon like the Blastoise. Yeah, you get away with it. You know, you rapid spin their shenanigans, and then you roar their other shenanigans, and now they're just behind. Also, if you're running the Yawn, you might find some free rapid spin opportunities because you throw out the Yawn, they switch, you rapid spin, potential sash breaking, which is always nice, but yeah, if they're trying to not let Pokemon fall asleep, then you just kind of get away with that for free. Yawn again, keep spamming the Yawns, roar, eventually one of their Pokemon's gonna be asleep and a fresh one's coming in and getting yawned, and that's just gonna be nasty right there. As for the Scald, there is anti-synergy in burning an opponent and then not being able to yawn them, but a burned opponent is still a really nice thing to have, especially if like you yawn a special attacker, they switch into a physical attacker, and then you throw out the Scald, because like double yawning, it's a thing, but it's also kind of risky. But if you get Giga into someone's head and perfect predict them, then it's also really strong. But like, yeah, yawn Scald, that's just kind of a safe play, but if they switch out on the special attacker, bring in physical, and you burn it, that's better than that Pokemon being asleep. It is now removed from the game. That also makes kind of the EV spread a little weird, where it's like, yeah, this means you're just taking no physical damage, but if you take a little bit off the defense, go into maybe a special defensive nature, and then like try to play to where you eat a little bit, or you try to like force in that switch and then get the burn, then you're finding the defensive tankiness that way. So I don't know, like something like this, but then like a Blastoise with more special defense kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't. The typing, Grass Electric, these are mostly going to be special hits, but you will see the occasional like physical grass or physical electric. But I think especially when we're talking about Gen 4 only meta, it's pretty much just going to be special attacks. So maybe leaning more on that special defense and then getting the Scald burn, and then like forcing them out and finding leftovers and stuff might just be the longevity Blastoise wants. Also, the resistance is pretty nice. Got a little bit of options to switch into, and then you start ruining the opponent's day. But like, you don't need the rapid spin. You can put in some other things here. Protect, Yawn, Protect, nasty, they fall asleep, you roar them away, and then into hazards is even better. So you got some shenanigans right here. Also, you're going to be getting that healing with the Protect. If Rain comes into play somehow, somewhere, I prefer the Rain Dish over Torrent. Better just have the Rain Dish maybe activate every once in a while than not getting any value out of Torrent because your tank and Scald isn't going to do anything for you. Also, these aren't like the exact EVs. They're just like, just throw out some EVs, you know. This will probably work and make Blastoise work into the meta or something. You eat a Draco Meteor and then you get to still pop off and do what you want to do. Here's some other options you can run on the Blastoise. We have Mirror Coat, Water Spout, Fake Out, Life Dew. The Life Dew is a weird one because it's only 25% healing. That's not as good as Recover. That's not... It actually kind of doesn't even feel close. But Life Dew plus a Leftovers as a pure tank, if you're not just eating overwhelming hits, the Life Dew can just kind of really start burning through PP on the opponent, or just making it to where your opponent slowly runs out of options. Especially like if you replace the Protect on this moveset with the Life Dew, and you go Yawn Life Dew, and you get, you know, a quarter of your health, that's going to be pretty nice. And then the Leftovers, but you're forcing the switch. So you're going to be healing up like 3/4 of your health in between hits. That might be damage negative, but it's not going to be terribly damage negative. And then you do find some like Scald opportunities. You burn an opponent, they're just not going to be able to do anything to you. Now you're coming out health positive. That gives you a lot more momentum on like Roar and Yawn switch predictions and Scald chip. They're also taking burn damage. They're switching into hazards. It just gets worse and worse for them. So that's a thing that could happen, and that could get pretty cool. I don't know, maybe you have a Light Clay screen setter. Like, what happens if you go dual screen Espeon, Calm Mind, Baton Pass? Who even cares if it has no offensive moves? Now Blastoise comes in as a full defensive tank. And we're freestyle. We're just making up stuff that's complete garbage, but would be one of the wildest things ever if it happened. You know, you do something like this, and then Blastoise's goal is to sleep or burn every Pokemon on the opposing team, and can kind of get away with it. So that just leaves the question of if there is a better Pokemon for this kind of idea. The Life Dew does give Blastoise something that other Pokemon don't have, and we're looking at tankiness. Gastrodon's got the Yawn, we talked about that with the Swampert. Also Quagsire with that Unaware, so less tanky, but Unaware might be able to salvage some game states. Like, Blastoise doesn't seem like the worst Pokemon for this, but I mean, like, does Uxie do anything? It doesn't have the Roar or Whirlwind the last time I checked. I don't know, guys. Gotta be double safe on that one. But, so yeah, like, the Blastoise has a niche here. Is Swampert better, potentially? I don't know. Or maybe people aren't going to expect that. Like, they see a Blastoise, they're worried about the Shell Smash threat because there's more offensive pressure here, and then you get, like, the first Yawn for free or something, and then you just try to position with that, or you just really like Blastoise and you want Blastoise to work more than Swampert. Now, here's a moveset that the King of Kanto and Blastoise enthusiast Berto sent me, and yeah, if you get inside your opponent's head with the Yawns, there is nothing you can't do, and Berto has shown that in Fan Fridays. I don't know about the EVs. This seems right. Maybe it's just Bold Nature. Maybe it's more balanced on the Blastoise. I don't know. Maybe he'll comment and I'll pin it. But yeah, the Muddy Water. I've seen like Protect here because Yawn Protect, and then just like Aqua Jet priority chipping people and like catching off shenanigans is also pretty crazy. But if you Yawn, they switch, you Muddy Water, and then their accuracy gets dropped, well, that just turns into another Yawn, and then they're just really trapped into that one. And if they're missing or switching, you're getting healing on leftovers, so what's the point of Protect if you're just better than them? Yeah, and then this is just wacky, which is also why you want to be aware of the careful nature over the calm. And as blasphemous as it sounds, yeah, there's like no diff there. And the Fake Out means like Blastoise comes in, free chip damage, free whatever you want. Also, really good revenge Pokemon on Sash. So it's like, yeah, the Blastoise, okay, what's he gonna do? What are you gonna do? Shell Smash and set up on me? I'm still gonna hurt you with my Focus Sash Pokemon. Nah, Aqua Jet, Fake Out, depending on the typing. And that's another nasty thing. Like, I talked about this, I think it was the Infernape, where I was like, hey, if you just tech in a Fake Out in a switch heavy meta, and you just keep using it, you might gain enough turns to where the timer might even matter, or you just do enough chip damage that they can't respond to where you suddenly just start winning the game. Or if you have like a really fat tank Pokemon, and then like you just keep finding ways to get in the Pokemon, Fake Out, hit and run, revenge, Fake Out, hit and run, stalling out your turns, not being able to break through. It's like, oh, I just ate too much Fake Out, and now I'm behind in the game and I lose, or something really stupid like that happens. So Blastoise can also enable that. So yeah, this is super high skill cap, but if you get away with it, it's filthy. Man, I forget, that was just all like this crazy detour that we took from some of these other things I was talking about. So Blastoise also has the Mirror Coat. You tech in the Mirror Coat, you eat a Thunderbolt, and then you just KO the opponent. And then how do they come back from that? Especially if you're also like fat enough to survive another hit, and then you Yawn on your way down or something. Like that could be something wacky, you know? You Mirror Coat, they get KO'd, you take the hit, you Yawn, they decide to stay in to finish off the Blastoise. Imagine if like you have Protect as well, so actually they stay in, they greed, and then they go to sleep, and then Blastoise switches out, and then some weird stuff happens. But like, yeah, you can get 1 plus a sleep, which effectively just makes the game a 4v5 for like 2 turns, which is enough to just make it a straight up 4v5. You got some tricks on the Blastoise, and that could get pretty crazy. Also, the Water Spout. Danger levels are high on this one, but I mean, if you Shell Smash for free somehow, and then the Water Spout, like, that's unstoppability. Now, the math on Water Spout can start getting pretty weird. Like, what if we eat just the right hit? Like, we take 60%, so that leaves us at 40%, but then Citrus Berry. And then that pushes us to like 65% health. Well, according to the Water Spout damage formula, that puts the base power at 97, which is higher than Surf. However, that's what we have the Mystic Water for, or the Splash Plate, so we're actually just converting more damage off of that, which means if we can get over 108 somehow, then that means even if we're missing some kind of health, we're still winning with the Water Spout. Unless, like, again, the game gets weird and, like, you find a way to take 30% of your health on some kind of hit while setting up the Shell Smash. I don't know. Because, like, yeah, if Blastoise is a good revenge Pokemon and it's like a Fire type or a Scarf Pokemon, there might be a scenario where it only takes 40% or something. So what about, like, Leftovers. Oh my gosh, I can't spell apparently. So it's getting to the point where if you're outspeeding and finding KOs one way or another, like a super effective hit, or you have just enough base power anyways, the Leftovers is making you stronger every turn on the water spout. It's risky, but it's also hilarious. And then we talked about the fake out because it works. Like I said, there's a couple of games in my history that I've lost out of the thousands and thousands and 10,000 Pokemon games maybe at this point. I just know that there's a couple. And if it's somehow a win rate pause move idea, even if it's like 0.1% or something, then yeah, you can do some crazy stuff with it. And then we have the Verlisify special moveset here at the end. So just some kind of spattering of EVs. Since we are running the Scald, we're fishing for burns, which means that we want to be a bit more special defense oriented, as we've talked about. Rest, Sleep Talk, Roar, Scald. But how about Quick Claw? Yeah. So now you're just... What do you do about that? What do you do about it? How do you stop this? Now, this exact moveset can work with the Swampert, and I feel like I've seen or offhandedly mentioned this kind of Swampert before or something, but I just find it funnier on the Blastoise, and yeah, there you go. Just do what you can. Like Rest, Sleep Talk, Roar, or Whirlwind, or Dragon Tail, or whatever memes comes out pretty strong. And if you find the Scald and it burns them, even better. What can they do about it? And if Quick Claw activates, what can they do about it? Pretty funny stuff. So yeah, there we go, guys. That is how you use Blastoise. Blastoise, I think it's got a decent chance to shine because of the restricted decks. Also, depending on what happens in the meta, has a lot of options, can do a lot of weird stuff. So just kind of keep your eye on the best moveset, and we'll see how it plays out. Also, a lot of really fun ideas just kind of go out and ruin your opponent's day. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.